Right now, a lot of people are sleeping on the power of NotebookLM and are just using it like a basic chatbot. They upload 1 or 2 files and ask a quick question, and that's it. But that's a massive underuse of what this tool can actually do. It's a complete research and intelligence system. We're talking autonomous sourcing that finds data for you, validation methods that ensure your research is solid and reliable, and a generative workflow that turns that data into slide decks, podcasts, videos, infographics, and now a complete data tables instantly. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the complete workflow to use this tool. Better than 99% of people, and by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to use NotebookLM, build a proper intelligence hub for your business. So let's get into it. First, let's head over to notebooklm.google.com. On the homepage, you'll see a notebook list or an empty state if this is your first time. We are going to create a new notebook here. But before we do, there is a critical detail that almost everyone overlooks. Notebooks must be topic specific. Don't just create a notebook called research or my notes. You want to create something that is focused, like competitive analysis, or something like an AI masterclass strategy for small businesses. Now, this might seem minor, but it actually changes how the AI performs. NotebookLM is at its best when your sources are related and are focused on one specific mission. I'll go ahead and hit that plus icon, and this takes us immediately to the sources upload page. Now, listen closely. This is where the quality of your output is decided. The common mistake is to simply upload 1 or 2 files without thinking strategically about what am I actually using this for and what do I actually need. So I want you to take a step back and think about the complete information landscape for your business topic. What formats does your data exist in right now? Is it in PDFs, YouTube interviews, competitor websites, or your own Google Docs? It doesn't actually matter, because that is the true power of NotebookLM. You can combine all those multiple formats into a single web of information rather than just a stack of isolated docs that are all over the place. Later in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to execute that multi-format strategy. So you want to make sure you stick around for that. For this example, I'm going to be creating an AI for small businesses hub. I'll hit escape key now and go right up there and add that title. Now, here is the feature that I was talking about and was added recently. It's a really powerful tool called deep research. Previously, we only had fast research, which was useful but limited. Now you can access a much more powerful version by clicking the drop down and selecting deep research. I'm going to select that and type in AI adoption trends for small businesses in 2026 and practical use cases. When I hit submit, NotebookLM will launch a deep research agent that researches the topic for me, visiting thousands of websites across the web. This isn't just a basic keyword search like you do on Google. It's actually analyzing the topic, finding sources and evaluating them for quality, and even adapting its search strategy to fill in any gaps it finds. Deep research is able to discover around 50 sources related to that topic you're searching for. It generates a detailed report by pulling all this information together, and then it selects the most relevant files and imports them directly into Notebook. Absolute game changer. Now, why is this a game changer? Because most business owners spend hours manually scouring the internet looking for this information or reports, and then having to evaluate whether they're even worth using, and then upload them one by one. Deep research does the heavy lifting for you in minutes, and you can still add your own resources on top of that as well. Okay, it's finished. I now have a list of sources automatically imported, plus a full research report added as a source. Wow. You might notice some sources failed to import. That usually happens if they're behind a paid wall. Don't worry, there's a quick way to fix this, and it's just by clicking remove all failed sources to clean up those sources we're not going to use. Now we have a high quality foundation of sources ready to work with. Before we start asking questions or generating any content, here is a step I feel is absolutely vital: source validation. The reason why I love NotebookLM is that it's incredibly good at reducing hallucinations, because it's grounded in the data you provide. But it's a big but that only works if your sources are reliable and current. If your sources are outdated, say from 2022, or if they're heavily biased, NotebookLM is going to give you the answers based on the sources that you provided. And that's flawed information without you even knowing it. So here's a quick validation framework I use every time I create a new notebook. Let's head over to the chat interface in the center of the screen. Before I ask any strategic questions about my business, I run through these 3 checks. First, I ask, create a table showing each source with the publication date, author credentials, and whether it's a primary research report or a secondary analysis or an opinion piece. This gives me a clear view exactly what I am working with. If I see most of my sources are from 2022 or on a fast moving topic like AI for businesses, then I need to go and find newer material. If everything is just an opinion piece with no data to back it up, that's a massive red flag. Let's go ahead and ask this. Look at that. NotebookLM is generating a table analyzing those sources we just imported, and I can see immediately there's a good spread, and I'm happy with it. Most of them are very recent, which is exactly what I wanted. Secondly, I asked which of these sources are most frequently cited or referred to by other sources in this notebook. Please put this in a table that shows which sources are the foundational pillars of the topic versus which ones are just the peripherals. These pillar resources are the ones I'm going to prioritize later. Finally, I ask, summarize the primary perspective or bias on top of the 5 substantial sources. This tells me if I'm looking at this from multiple angles or if I'm getting trapped in an echo chamber. For a small business, you need to see the risks just as clearly as the rewards. These 3 checks don't take long, but I really highly recommend you do them. They give you a complete picture of your sources quality before you build your entire business workflow on top of it. With our sources now grounded and validated, the next critical step is the configuration. This is something the vast majority of users ignore, but it's exactly what will bridge the gap between a generic AI response and a high-level business intelligence response. In the top right corner, click on Settings. This opens up the controls for NotebookLM and how it actually processes your data and responds to you. First, we need to set the conversational goal. You'll see 3 options here: default for general research, learning guide if you're studying, or custom. And this is where the power is. So for our specific business use case, we want it to be an intelligence hub, and we are choosing custom. Now, this is the most important part, defining the role. I'm going to tell NotebookLM to act as the following. You are a senior business strategy consultant specializing in digital transformation for UK and small businesses. Your tone needs to be practical, forward-thinking, and focused on ROI. By doing this, we are instructing the notebook to frame every single response from that specific professional perspective. Instead of getting middle-of-the-road AI talk, you're getting advice that actually understands the UK business landscape and focuses on the bottom line. Next, choose your response length. You have 3 options: default, longer, or shorter. Now, I tend to go for shorter because I like to interact quickly and it keeps the momentum up during my workday. That's just my style. Be free to choose whatever suits you. Longer if you want a deep dive of reports and thousands of pages to read. But it's up to you. Finally, we click save. These settings are now locked in. Will apply to every single chat we have in this notebook moving forward. Now, let's talk about working with your sources. On the left-hand side, you've got your source list with checkboxes next to them. A common mistake I see most people do, leaving every single box ticked. When you have a large number of sources, NotebookLM will go through each of these sources before it generates an answer. And that just dilutes your results and gives you a vague surface level summary. If you want to be in total control, do this. Uncheck everything, then select only the ones that relate to your specific question. By doing this, the other documents or sources effectively don't exist to NotebookLM during this chat. The AI can only see what you've selected. This is how we get those sharp, specific insights into our sources rather than generic responses. Now, the part that I'm most excited about, the power features that everyone is talking about. The studio panel. This is where we start to generate rich content that you can actually use for your business. On the right hand side, you'll see the studio panel, where we're going to start with the audio overview. Now, a beginner mistake here is just clicking generating and accepting whatever random conversation that NotebookLM decides to spit out. We want results that actually make sense for our specific business needs. So you need to take control of this conversation. And to do that, we're going to click on the pencil icon. This opens the instructions box. And this is where you will tell NotebookLM exactly what you want it to focus on for our business intelligence hub. I don't want a general summary. I'm going to tell it the following. Focus exclusively on the practical implementations of AI for small businesses based in the UK. Use a professional tone and act if you're briefing a CEO on their morning commute. Look how it changes the prompt. It's now targeted, and you can even change the format. You're not limited to a standard deep dive. You can switch to a brief for a quick update, or my personal favorite, the debate. This is where two AI hosts actually look at the pros and cons of your data. This is massive for finding blind spots in your business plan or anything before you present it to anyone. While the audio is generating in the background, look at what else we can do. We have infographics which generate visual charts from a single prompt. And this is using Nano Banana in the background. There's slide decks which creates a full presentation narrative. One thing to note is you can't export these to slides just yet. It currently outputs as a PDF, but the structure it gives you is a massive head start. And finally, reports. This can turn 50 different resources into one clean, structured executive briefing. The difference between a default, an overview, and a custom one is night and day. So what you're doing here is moving from a cool feature, but to ways how you can actually use this in your business as an asset. Let's actually start to build these assets that you're going to use in your meetings. The secret to all of this is the pencil icon. Never just hit generate. Always take that extra 10 seconds to give the AI a clear direction. First, let's click on infographics and let's hit that pencil icon. You'll see the settings for orientation. I usually go for landscape for my internal monitors and give it this level of detail. I recommend the standard detail to keep the visuals clean. For my prompt, I am saying create a professional infographic mapping out the AI adoption timeline for a small team over the next 12 months. Use a clean, modern design with a professional blue color scheme. Now, it will take some time to generate once you hit that button, but be patient because it's not just creating it from a template, it's analyzing your sources to find the data points to put into that graphic. It's doing a work of a graphic designer in the background. Our infographic is now finished. Let's have a look at what it's created. And it's used the blue that I requested when I was prompting. The only thing I would say here is that there's a bit too much content on here. But what you can do, and this is what advanced users is, is they go back and re-prompt. So I could say reduce the amount of information on it. Always treat the first output as a first draft. And I could also download it and that would go onto my computer and I could share that with anyone via their email address too. Next, let's look at the slide deck. Again, hit that pencil. You can choose between a detailed deck or a presenter slides. If I'm sending this to a client, I tend to go for a detailed one. If I'm presenting it, I would go for presenter mode. I'm going to prompt it to do the following. Create a 10-slide strategy deck for a CEO, focusing on the cost savings of AI automation versus the risk of staying manual. Let's go and have a look at our presentation as it's now finished. I'm just going to click on it. And as you can see, it's created the presentation. But to look at it in more detail, I can just click on expand here. And then I can go through it slide by slide. Again, I probably would go back and re-prompt to make it a different color as I'm not a fan of this color right now. But if you look at the content, it's pretty good. The only thing that I would change here as well when I'm reprompting is it should be using a UK perspective and not a US perspective. And this is why you do have to double check your slides as well. I could also play to watch the slideshow. And there you go. As I click through, I could deliver it as well. And I just press escape to come out of there. I could also download it. The only issue right now is that when you do download it, it's a PDF. So you can't go through and actually edit it in Google Slides. But hopefully that will come soon. But remember, this is just a starting point, and it's put us hours ahead of the work we would have to do if we didn't have this. Next, let's talk about the video overview. This is a brand new feature. It creates a narrated explainer video with AI visuals. Click that pencil button again and look at the custom visual styles. You can actually describe the aesthetic. I'm going for minimalistic, tech forward, and professional. Let's have a look at the video output. And we simply can click on play and then play again.
So we all know AI is advancing fast. But what about the threats that come with it? Let's dive right in. There's a pretty chilling new term for when AI causes a disaster. And it's not just a theory. We're talking over 2,000 legal claims predicted for this year alone. Now, don't get me wrong, AI is an incredible tool, a huge boost for businesses and defenders. But here's the flip side. That same power is giving attackers some seriously scary new weapons. Yeah, and we're seeing these AI-powered...
So this has been generated from two of the sources that I asked it to look at regarding cybersecurity. Finally, we have reports, as I mentioned earlier. This is where you need heavy paperwork. I'm going to create a briefing doc, but I'm customizing it to be a technical white paper. Here's my prompt. Summarize the top 3 AI tools mentioned in our sources. Provide a SWOT analysis for each. Okay, let's go and have a look at our briefing document that we created. So we can just double click on this. And there you can see it's created a briefing report and it's done a SWOT analysis as well for each one. But the beauty of this and what we can do is if we click on the meatballs, we can actually export it to docs. Click on it again and then click on copy. So it's going to copy the content with the formatting. Now, if I open up a Google Docs by going to docs.new, and if I just paste that in, it's now preserved the formatting. So I would say that's the better way to do it. Pretty impressive. Now, before we move on, I have to show you this brand new feature that just landed in the studio panel. And for me, it's a total game changer. Data tables. If you've ever spent hours trying to manually pull numbers, pricing, or features comparisons out of your stack of PDFs, you know how painful that can be. This feature does it all of the heavy lifting for you. To use it, we go back to the studio panel. And as you guessed, we click on the pencil. We aren't just letting the AI guess what data we want. We are going to define the columns ourselves. For our AI strategy hub, I'm going to give it this prompt. Create a comprehensive data table comparing the different AI tools mentioned in our sources. I want columns for tools, name, primary use case, estimated cost, and ease of implementation for a small team. Now I hit generate. Look at those results. This is a structured table built from the different sources. You've gone from a wall of text to a decision-making matrix in seconds. You can copy this data straight into Google Sheets and start your budgeting plan immediately. This is how we turn raw research into actual business roadmaps. To end, I want to show you how you can add your own specific mixed document formats to create a comprehensive research system. A lot of people upload one type of source. Maybe they add 5 PDFs or maybe they add 3 YouTube videos, but you can add a range of different formats and combine them all together. NotebookLM accepts PDFs, websites, YouTube videos, audio files, Google Docs, and plain text. The power comes from mixing these formats to cover your topic from multiple different angles. For example, I can layer a YouTube video for accessible explanations on top of a company blog post from an industry perspective, and even a podcast transcript from a conversational point of view, looking at their insights. What this does is create a 360-degree view of your topic. You wouldn't be able to get this from a single file. So let me add a YouTube video to demonstrate. Click Add Sources, click YouTube and paste the URL. I'm adding a video on AI for small businesses. NotebookLM pulls that transcript in and adds it as one of our sources. Now I can ask questions that synthesizes across a range of different formats, comparing the technical approaches discussed in the research papers with the information from our YouTube video that we've just imported. This multi-format approach is so powerful because different formats offer different points of views. Academic papers give you that rigor. A video gives you that accessible explanation. A blog post may give you an industry context. Podcasts give you that conversational insight. The typical user tends to stay with one format, while advanced users mix a range of content and formats that are available to them. So that brings us to the end of our video, and you've been able to complete a workflow for using NotebookLM, and hopefully you'll be able to use this in your context setting. If you found this video useful, why not watch another video that I've posted right below, and it's how to use Gemini 3 Pro like an advanced user. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and share if you found this video useful. See you on the next one.